are going to be some surprises. It was definitely weird. They did exist and they killed them. You probably remember that I hate The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. That is weird. Good morning and happy first day of Summerween. I am so excited that Summerween is finally here. I've been waiting for this ever since Winterween. I am so excited to be reading spooky books all week. I'm excited to be doing spooky things, watching spooky things, making spooky treats. It's just gonna be a really fun spooky week. I have a whole pile of books that I want to get to this week and I don't know which ones I'm gonna get to. I have a TBR video. I typically don't really follow my TBRs super well, but I'm gonna try to stick mostly to it, but I also just want to be able to read as much as I can this week. So if I'm starting a book and I'm not feeling it, we're moving on to the next spooky book because I have too many spooky books to get to and not enough time. I also have some new books on my radar that I've acquired ever since my Summerween TBR, so there are going to be some surprises, some books I'm really excited about. So it's just going to be a really good week. But first, it is Friday, meaning I still have to work today. So I'm going to do some work, but then at the end of the day, I will then be reading, and I will be reading on Saturday and Sunday. And it's July 4th, so I have Monday off work. So I'm gonna be able to read all day Monday too. So I am so excited. So I'm gonna go get some work done for the day and then we will head on into the long spooky weekend. Okay, hello. I have reached the end of my workday and I read a little bit today. So I've been seeing this new horror book being talked about on the interwebs, mostly on TikTok, and it's called Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, I believe, something like that. And I keep seeing this on TikTok. It's being called very disturbing. It's being compared to books like I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid and Tender is the Flesh, which is a book about like breeding humans for cannibalism. Very disturbing. And so it's piqued my interest, but it piqued my interest even further when I found out it's a novella and it's really short and you can get through it really quick. So I got that sucker on Kindle. I don't have a Kindle, but I have the Kindle app, and so I can use it on my phone or my iPad or any Apple device, I guess. But I've been reading on my phone. It's hurting my eyes though, so I'm gonna use my iPad in a little bit. But I'm like 50% through it already because it's just such a quick read. I only like read 2 chapters while I was having lunch just to test it out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm already like halfway through this book. Incredible. It's definitely pulling me in so far. It's very interesting. And this was not on my radar for Summerween previously. This is like a surprise book that came on my radar in the past couple of days because of TikTok, because hello, all I do is sit on TikTok. But it's going to be quick. It's going to be a quick first read of Summerween and I'm excited to be reading it. I think the idea behind this book is you don't want to know a lot going into it. So I don't want to tell you too much about it, but I really don't even know too much because it's not like a book where there's a lot of plot. It's a novella, so it's like short and there's just the basic premise of it and we're starting to see some of it. But basically what this story is about is these 2 women, like young women, not sure their age, who in like the 2000s have an internet interaction that goes bad. And it's really cool because the way you're reading the book is through their interactions on email and like instant messenger so far. And it is told through the lens of this, like the author. It starts with an author's note talking about how they are putting together all of these emails and messages from these 2 women after this bad thing has happened, because I'm pretty sure it implies that one of them is dead in that and there's a current court case going on. And so in the beginning, the author's note, I thought this was like a real story for a sec, just the way it's framed, but it's all fiction. And then there are parts that will be omitted because they're like omitted from this collection that this author is putting together. So I really like the framing of it. It really pulls you right into the story because it's literally just like reading someone's emails or reading someone's messages. And so it feels like you're like reading something private that you shouldn't be reading and you know it's going to go bad. And so it gives off really cool vibes, but so far it already is very eerie. Like the first part or chapter is about this apple peeler, and the way that they meet is that one of the women is trying to sell an apple peeler online, and she's selling it for like $250 because she says it's super special to her. She's looking for someone who's really going to take care of it, and the other woman says that she wants to buy it because her grandpa's dying. There's a whole story, and there's like a lot of weird little details that come in, just like really mundane, normal things, but something about the mundane being explained creates an eerie sense to the story. Anyway, that's how they get talking, and then it goes beyond the apple peeler. Then they move to instant messenger and they start talking over there. Like I said, I don't want to give you too many details because I don't like to know a lot going into novella since they're shorter. I like to be surprised by every single element, so that's all I'll tell you about the details of the story. But I'm getting the sense that it gets into a sense of like obsession and sadism. I don't know how to say that word, sadism, just like unhealthy relationship stuff, and I'm very intrigued. Like I said, I'm already 50% through, so I'm probably gonna finish this in the next like 30 minutes to an hour or so. So that is the first item on my agenda for the rest of the evening, is to try to finish this novella, see what I think about it, see how disturbing it is, give my thoughts, and then I don't really know what the rest of my night's gonna look like. Probably gonna go try to grab dinner somewhere, maybe do like an activity since it's a Friday, like to, you know, relax, unwind. It is just weird when you move and you lose all sense of like routine or knowing this is what I do on Fridays, or like here are my options for my fun weekend things I do, or the friends I see, and now I'm in a new state and I have nobody to hang out with. So I mean, I have my boyfriend who I live with, but you know, we just had our friends that we used to hang out with a lot, and now we just have to find our new routines and things to do. So we'll see what we end up doing. I also really want to watch Luca. That is not a spooky movie. It's a very cute movie, but I do want to watch that, so maybe we'll do that. But I'll let you know. First, I'm going to read this book and I'll let you know my thoughts on it, and then we'll just see where the night takes us. And happy day 2 of Summerween. I did already complete one book last night, and that was the novella that I was reading. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke. I don't really know how to feel about it. It was definitely weird. I will say, I think I expected more weird and gross and disturbing stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's incredibly disturbing, but I was expecting it to like really go there because of how much I've seen this be recommended as one of the most disturbing books anyone's ever read, which like it is, but I don't know. I just thought it was going to be even worse than it was. It was still bad, but I don't know. I was expecting something like out of this world insane. So when it ended, I was kind of like, that's it? That's where we're stopping? We're not going to get even weirder? But like, no, it's pretty weird. It's pretty disturbing, pretty gross. Like I said, don't want to give you too much info about it because I think you should just read it yourself if you are into disturbing stuff. Like, be prepared. It is disturbing. It definitely goes into manipulative personalities and obsession and controlling sadism, like it gets dark, it goes there. But what I think this book does so well is its format, its structure. You can really just get absorbed in it. I was saying this before, but like it's all in emails and instant messages, and you really just feel like you're reading someone's private conversation that you should not be reading. And so that adds to just the feeling you have as a reader as you're reading this. And then it is such disturbing content that you're like, I really should not be reading these messages between these people. Like, this is just not something that I should be looking in on, but like it's so disturbing you can't look away, just like a train wreck you can't look away from. And I was thinking about how to rate it, and I have no freaking clue what rating to give this book. Did I think it was interesting? Yes. Was it captivating? Yes. Did it fully give off like the feeling of horror? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Kind of. Like, I enjoyed reading it because I just kept waiting to see what was going to unravel, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I think I would just be careful who I recommend this to. I think that is where I would land. Like, I thought this was a pretty well done horror novella. So like a 4-star, I guess. But I would not put this on like a recommendations list without giving a disclaimer of the type of reader that this would be for. So if you have read other really disturbing horror books and you really enjoy those or get something out of them, I don't know if enjoy is even the right word, but if you like things like The Troop by Nick Cutter, I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, Tender is the Flesh, that genre of disturbing horror, thrillery type body horror in there works, then maybe give this a try. It's really short, really quick to get through. Can read it in like one sitting, honestly. But yeah, that was my first read of Summerween. Unexpected. It popped up on my radar in the past week, but glad I read it. Glad I can see what all the buzz is about with that one. Does that complete any prompts, I wonder? Oh, I guess it does. So technically it is a horror book. It's a novella, but it's a book, horror book. And then I did read it in the dark, kind of, because I was reading it on my iPad in the dark. So technically I've already completed like 2 prompts, so good for me. But I think I'm gonna get through all these prompts really quickly anyways. So that brings us to today, what I'm reading next. So I picked up Into the Drowning Deep last night, and I was intending to read a little bit of it, get into it a little bit, but it was like 12:30 at night and I read about 5 pages and then I was exhausted. So haven't really gotten into this one yet. This is the next one that I want to read though. However, I am a little worried about this being a over 400 page book and the font is relatively small. I don't want to like get stuck in this because I don't know. I just don't imagine this is going to be a book that I totally want to fly through. I might be wrong, but I don't know. Something about it just seems to me like I'm going to want to read it a little slower, really absorb the writing. That's just the vibe I'm getting from the first 5 pages and what I've heard about this book. So I'm a little hesitant to just like fully commit to this. So what I'm also thinking of doing is picking up The Maidens today, because this is more of a thriller and I can fly through thrillers really quickly. And so I'm thinking I want to balance this one. So read some of this. If it's starting to go kind of slow, I feel like I'm not really getting through a lot, then pick up this, see if it's more fast paced, kind of just go back and forth between these to give me 2 different vibes. Because this one feels more like horror spooky and this one feels like it's going to be more thriller fast paced. That's just what I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's my plans for today. These are the 2 that are on my immediate radar. Things could change because like I said, I'm trying to be ruthless. I'm trying to get through as many spooky books as I can. If I'm not enjoying a book, we're going to sit it down. We're going to pick up something else because I have so many spooky books on my radar. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, hello. So I have made progress in both of these books so far. As I suspected, I ended up being more pulled into The Maidens quickly. It's more of a page turner, whereas Into the Drowning Deep requires more brain power and focus, and I would really like an audiobook for it because I've also heard the audiobook is really good, but I'm trying to rationalize if I should pay like $35 for the audiobook or not. So I'm still weighing that out. We'll see what happens there. But let me update you on what I've read so far. So starting with The Maidens, I'm about 100 pages into The Maidens. So I'm like this far into it. And so far I am just very pulled into it because I've just missed reading thrillers, and this just reads like a thriller. It's a page turner, there's action, there's dialogue. We're just flipping through it. So what's going on in this story? We have our main character, Mariana, I think, which is funny because this book is about the Mariana Trench. And I'm pretty sure this character's name is also Mariana. It is. That is weird. Anyway, we have our main character, Mariana, who is like a 30-something-year-old woman whose husband has passed within the past year or so. And so she is still grieving the loss of her husband, and her niece Zoe calls her one day and tells her that her friend has been murdered. And so then Mariana goes to Cambridge, where Zoe is at school and where she also went to school, to go help her work through the case, kind of. She ends up getting just like thrown into this case, basically. She's a psychotherapist herself. She has a psychotherapist friend who's like working on the case that she went to school with. She has a professor who she's friends with at school. She just like really quickly falls back into this group of people and what's going on. And the main suspect from Zoe's perspective is this professor whose name is Edward Fosca. And she really thinks that this professor is the one who murdered her friend Tara because Tara told her that they were sleeping together and that he told her that he would kill her if she told anyone that they were sleeping together. But this professor is also very like revered around the campus. He has this group of women who are known as the Maidens who adore him. I guess he's the mythology professor. He's a little fishy. Like, you don't know whether to believe him or not. So that's where we're at right now. She's investigating the case. You've also got a lot of backstory on her and what's going on with her grieving her husband and how her husband passed and all these other people that she's loved and how they've passed. And she's from Athens, Greece, which is just an interesting kind of part of the story since this is a mythology professor and it seems like mythology is going to weave into the story. You also learn about her clients and this one client who's like very obsessed with her that she deals with in her group therapy classes, and he's kind of lingering in the story as well. So I'm just like not really sure why we're getting this much backstory on her, but I suppose some of it will be important. We'll just have to see. But all in all, I am hooked. I am enjoying this story. I'm having a good time. I'm really happy to be reading a thriller again. It's doing all the right things for me. So I anticipate wanting to focus a lot of my time on this one because it's just really easy to flip through and I'm having a good time. And then there is Into the Drowning Deep. So this one I am about 40 pages into at chapter 3, so just a little bit into it. And the beginning was a little bit overwhelming, to be honest, because it is like all of these fragments of stories and news clips and stuff put together that is talking about this incident that happened. But essentially what the story is about is the Mariana Trench, this mysterious place where people disappear. There was this crew of people who went down there to make this like documentary, kind of like a mockumentary, I guess, with this company called Imagine Entertainment, which seems to be an important part of the story. They went down there not really thinking they would find mermaids, actually. They were like, oh yeah, haha, we'll see if mermaids exist. But then I guess, you know, they did exist and they killed them because this whole crew has like never been found. No survivors, no bodies, nothing. It's just like disappeared. And so the main character following the story is one of the people that was on that ship's sister, who is named Victoria. She goes by Tori, and she's a scientist or a marine biologist, and she's determined to figure out what happened to her sister Anne in that ship. And so she is currently studying marine biology stuff, or like working in marine biology and trying to raise funds in some way to either be able to monitor things with sonar detection or go down there and do it herself. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I imagine, you know, they're going to take a crew down there somehow. People are going to come together. So that's what's going on so far. I'm not super into the story yet. Not a lot has happened, but that's kind of the setup of the book. But I can tell this is going to have a heavier science aspect to it, which I like. It just does take more focus and brain power and requires me to slow down when I'm reading it. So I think this was a good choice to balance these two books at once to keep myself reading this book, but also like not slowing down, getting able to read a book that's a bit more of a page turner. So I'm very glad I did that. Otherwise, I don't have many more thoughts on this yet. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I like the way it's written so far, but haven't really gotten enough into the story to have an opinion on it yet. So that's where I'm at with those two books. It is like 8:30-ish. It's kind of starting to get a little late. And the rest of my plans for the evening, might watch another movie, might read a little more, but I'm kind of tired, so kind of just want to relax tonight. May do the spooky treat ordeal tonight. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see when that happens, but got some new supplies to have some spooky treats that I'm excited for. But I will update you the next time I have things to update you on. Happy Sunday, happy July 4th, and happy day 3 of Summerween. I haven't filmed as much today because I've been busy reading more today, and I actually finished The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I have not read any more of Into the Drowning Deep yet because I just got so caught up in this book that I didn't want to stop reading it. I just wanted to get to the end and see what was going on, and it was just such a fast-paced read, so this one went on the back burner a little bit. But let me tell you about how this one played out. So if you have been keeping up with me, you probably remember that I hate The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I did not like that book. That was Alex Michaelides' first book. Everybody loved it, huge bestseller. People talked about the plot twist for a year, and I did not like it. I didn't like the tone of the book. I thought the plot twist was pretty cheap, and I just didn't love that book. So I had a hypothesis that with this trend that I notice sometimes when I don't like a book everyone else likes and the author writes another book and then a lot of people don't like that book, then I'll like that book. So I had a theory that I was gonna really like this book, and I did. I don't really want to go into spoilers with this book. I kind of want to just talk about it generically. But I thought it was just so much fun. It was so fast-paced. There were so many different characters who could possibly be involved. It really leads you on this journey of making the professor look like the main suspect, and you don't know if that's too obvious, so it couldn't possibly be him, or if it's so obvious that it has to be him, and kind of leads you on that journey with the characters the whole way. I will say the way everything ended, I did kind of predict in a way. When the book first started, I was just really reading into this one. I was really trying to solve it myself. Sometimes I don't try to solve thrillers and I'll just be along for the ride, but this one I just like wanted to piece together in my head the whole time. So I actively guessed who the person was that was doing the murders and their motive behind it too. But I guess that really early on is a possible theory of where I could possibly see the book going, just with all the characters you have laid out in front of you. And I still had a really good time getting there. And then the ending was even more wild than I suspected, and it really shocked me. I was so shocked when I was reading this that I actually picked up the camera to record my reaction because it was so surprising to me. I was not expecting it to go there, especially because it was in like the last 30 or so pages of the book when it was getting to this really tense climactic moment, and I was like, okay, how are we gonna pan out the rest of this story? And then the way it all just unfolds and the secrets that are revealed just really kind of blew my mind a little bit. So overall, I had a really good time with this book. I think I would give it like either a 4 or a 5 star. I feel like 5 star for just like enjoyment, entertainment factor. Like I had a really good time reading this book. I flew through it really fast. It was just a fun thriller to read, but on like a more critical level, I did have some things that I didn't like about it. So more of like a 4 star because it wasn't like a perfect book, but I don't know, 4.5, 5, who cares? Not me. Some of the things that I didn't love as much about the book was I felt like there were a lot of characters who would just like come in, and it would be these men coming in the story who were just like swooning over your main character and just like in love with her so fast, and she just wanted to reject them. And that just kept happening a couple times, so it was a little bit repetitive. And then it was also like, what was the point of that? Like, were you just trying to throw in distractions to the story? I don't know. Some of it just didn't really fully pan out. And then there was one thing that was like a loose thread in the end, I think. I mean, technically you know what ends up happening to this character, but it was just like a weird arc for this character of them being introduced to the story, presenting this conflict, leading up to this moment, something bad happens, and then they just kind of go away. And it was like, why were they even in the story? Like, were they just another distraction? I don't know. So it felt like some of the characters were wasted, or there were themes repeated with the way she was interacting with men. I don't know. Some of that was just a little bit annoying to me. And then oh, I also forgot there is a connection to The Silent Patient in this book more towards the end. It's not a huge thing. It's just like a character comes in that's from The Silent Patient, and you see how they kind of get sent on their journey. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, overall, this was a fun time, a good, entertaining Summerween read, a good, fun thriller to flip through, and I definitely liked it more than The Silent Patient. So now I'm going to jump on back into this book. I do still think I might want to balance it with another book because I do just think it's going to take me a while to get through. I'm going to just spend longer in this book, and I want to keep reading more different stories. So TBD if I balance this with another book, but I think I'm going to go ahead and end part 1 of my Summerween vlogs here on today, and then I will pick back up for part 2 starting tomorrow, just because tomorrow I know I'm gonna have a lot of time for reading and I might not through the rest of the week, so I feel like this is a good place for a break. So far it's been so much fun, and I would say it's been a very successful readathon so far because I've gotten through a novella, a whole novel, and part of another book. So I've gotten lots of reading done but still have lots more to do. If you're participating in Summerween, comment down below and let me know. Let me know how your reading's going. Have you read any great books yet? What has been your favorite read? Anything disappointing? Just let me know all down below how Summerween is going for you. And I will be picking back up for part 2 of these reading vlogs tomorrow, and then you'll see it in a couple days when the readathon is done. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!